Car loan defaults now at an all-time high, but what's this mean for your real estate? Hey everybody, Scott Walters. Before we get started, I'm going to politely ask you, give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Please watch to the end for my final thought. Hit the bell icon so you're notified when new videos are released. It's very important to stay close to the channel in these very tricky times. All right, friends, welcome to the show. I hope everybody's doing great. So yeah, we got another one we got to monitor and temperature check, read between the lines and look between the economic cracks of is car loan defaults are now at an all-time high. They're spiking. And we really have to pay attention to this because the two biggest purchases we make in our lives are homes and then cars. Usually the car is our first biggest purchase, and then from there we're going to move on to our house. And typically these both are financed. And because a lot of people poured in during the euphoria, during the crisis, during the stimulus era, this is on hyperspeed now. People can no longer keep up with their cost of living. They're starting to default on their cars. And a lot of these same people bought homes. Now, the first thing to go typically that you're going to stop making your payment on before the house is the car. So this is just basically now the clock ticking. Because if car loan defaults are spiking at an all-time high, they've actually, this is the kind of the scary part, they've hit 2010 levels currently, based on the rate of car loan defaults that are now being recorded. What was 2010? It was the bloodbath. And we're already seeing that now here in 2025. And the headlines aren't nearly as scary as they were in terms of the housing market crash as they were in 2010. The cat was out of the bag. The jig was up. There was no hiding behind the smoke and mirrors. Loan modification programs, government intervention, it was all being implemented in 2010, and it didn't save the housing market. Now, we've got way more headwinds in this bubble than we did in the last bubble because there was way more stimulus injected into this bubble, and it went overnight appreciation to never seen before highs virtually in lightning speed overnight. And in 2008, it took a little while, it started brewing about 04, 05, and then boom, by 2010, it was a bloodbath. Now, that's where we're already at now. So if you do the correlation, okay, well, car loans, the first thing to go is the car, then the next thing to go is the house. And the two biggest purchases we make is the car and the house. And car loan defaults are now at 2010 levels, which was a bloodbath for the economy in the global financial crisis of 2008 that really was kind of at its peak in terms of, being a bloodbath, was in 2010, and it didn't really end until 2012. This one, I've always said, it doesn't take a rock scientist to figure it out. Bigger bubble, bigger blowback. So we can pull from the past to kind of get a glimpse into the future and expect it to be exactly the same. Now, like I've always said, bigger bubble, bigger blowback. So, for me, don't rule it out. Expect the unexpected. It's better to be prepared for something and have it not happen than have something happen and not be prepared. So the number one question is now, will this reach into the housing market? Well, if we pull from historical data, yes, it will. We will see, and will we see government intervention again? Yes, we already are. The 50-year mortgage is really just a bailout. It's government intervention. It's doing what it can to save off a real estate crash. And it might work. But at some point, we will pay the piper. Now, I don't think a 50-year mortgage is going to save out the crash, but it might present some opportunity for you to maybe get into some investment properties and use a loan instrument like a 50-year mortgage to get a property to pencil out in cash flow. I think there's going to be some opportunity. In fact, we're going to be looking into that. So stay tuned. If you're new, get subscribed. We'll be talking about potentially how the 50-year mortgage might help you get into some investment properties. But the loan strength of the borrower is going to be compromised. So not a lot of people are going to be able to utilize that loan instrument, the 50-year mortgage. So that's why I always say, it's not as important to own where you live. It's just important to own. We want to own real estate, but we want to go where it still makes sense, right? So if that doesn't make sense in your backyard, we want to find neighboring cities or zip codes where we can go and buy rental property. And then later on in life, you can always retire into one of your rental properties. I was talking to a subscriber yesterday that we're helping get into his first investment property. And I was telling him, my rule of thumb when I buy properties, like rental properties, income properties, is I don't buy anything that I wouldn't be willing to live in myself. Now, I might not be excited to go live in one of my rentals, but I know in the back of my head, if anything ever happened, I could always just move into one of my cracker box rentals. And affordable rentals are always going to be in demand, and that's what I target, affordable rentals. And I like to be diversified. I own commercial and residential rental properties. And so, but they're again, I'd rather than one big luxury high dollar home, I'd rather have multiple affordable units, and that's because they're just always going to be in demand. So the reality is this: with car loans now default spiking, what the next thing is going to be is the house. And here's the thing: this is the tricky part. Like I said, you don't want to use 2008 too much as we did to correlate too much to the bubble we're in now. And here's why: in 2008. Yes, there was a bubble. Yes, there was a lot of people pouring into the markets. Yes, there was a lot of people going with the teaser rate loans and adjustable rate mortgages and things like that. But we didn't see the amount of pressure people put on themselves to buy in that bubble as we did in this one. This one, like I said, it was really concentrated because we were all stuck at home behind computers and screens, searching properties online, and then just willing to buy them sight unseen. I can't tell you how many sales I did without the person ever setting foot onto, doing remote showings and things like that, because that's what we were urged to do. We couldn't have open houses to the public. They had to be one-on-one showings. They had to be private showings. And we even did, a lot of remote showings and things like that. But people put so much pressure in this bubble to buy the house in terms of bidding wars. We didn't see bidding wars in the 2008 era bubble like we did in this crisis bubble. This one was really, really, like I said, like the Twilight Zone, bidding wars. And so people put so much pressure to buy the house. The last thing they want to do right now is lose the house. They're like, honey, we tried so hard. We had to go over and above asking price. We had to waive contingencies and inspections. I had to borrow money from our parents to buy this house. I don't want to lose the house. Let's let go of the car. I mean, that's what we're up against now. Let's just let go of the car and go buy some junker. But here's the thing, you're on borrowed time. And that's why I always said, do not base your self-worth on a house. And everybody, my industry included, which is one of the reasons I had to whistleblow this thing, is, it's a great time to buy. Interest rates are low. Well, not if you have to go over and above and beyond appraised values to do it. There was one small window before the run-ups. If you could have landed that 3% interest rate or thereabouts before the run-ups, but that was a small window. This thing became a runaway train almost virtually overnight. And listen, real estate's local. All areas behave differently. I was talking to a subscriber the other day. I get asked it here where I live in the $1 Million District all the time. Like, hey, Scott, do you think we're going to have a crash here? And I said, well, here's the thing. I can't guarantee we're not going to have a crash. In fact, historical data says, yes, we're going to have another housing downturn. But this is what I can tell you. Certain areas like ours will be the last to get hit, and they will be the first to climb out. But we will take our haircut too in a deep cycle downturn. We took the 40% haircut here where I'm living in the $1 Million District. We took it all over the country. Certain areas that didn't have overnight appreciation and never seen before highs, obviously they're going to be a little more insulated, but there's a lot of factors that can play into a housing downturn. But one thing's for sure, when you see car loan defaults now at 2010 levels already, that's a warning sign. And final thoughts, I come to you as a friend, as a content creator, as a real estate guy that wants to see not only win in real estate, win in life. Understand the waters you're swimming in now, they're shark infested. 2010, welcome to the swimming pool. We have auto loan defaults now at 2010 levels. That was our last crash, and it was the great financial crisis, a massive recession for our country with global ripple effects. We're already there now. And mainstream media is not covering the great financial crisis like they were in 2010, but they should be, because as we see now, like I always say, the U.S. savings rate at an all-time low, U.S. credit card use at an all-time high, and now car loan defaults at 2010 levels. It's clear the writing's on the wall. It's not if we're going to have a downturn, it's most likely when. My advice, and I'd never suggest anybody do anything I'm not doing or willing to do myself, insulate yourself in these times. Save your cash for a rainy day. If you're shopping real estate, get with an agent like me, where we can kick the tires, shake the trees, and throw some offensive offers on properties that can stand on their own 2 feet as a rental, even if it's not designed to be a rental. It's your primary home. You'll hit the pillow at night feeling much better knowing, hey, if anything happens to me or the economy, a renter goes in, they can make the payment on this house. I don't have to lose it. In the meantime, I'll be here to blow the lid off it every step of the way, because it's not only what we need, it's in fact what we deserve. If you appreciate the content, I want to humbly ask you, give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. If you need help buying or selling real estate here in America, I have the biggest network, top-rated agents in the nation ready to assist you. It'd be our honor and our privilege to do so. Email in the description for you as well. If you're watching from your television set today and you enjoyed this video, you're going to love the next video, and there's an easy subscribe icon for your convenience. As always, thank you for your time. Please go make it count today. God bless, and I'll see you on the next video.